Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming. So this is the information session on the McGill-University of the West Indies Queen Elizabeth Scholars program titled Climate Adaptation and Resilient Communities, Policy, Research, and Practice. I'm Kate Shaw. I'm the Student Affairs Administrator at the Department of Equity, Ethics, and Policy. And more relevant here is the fact that I am the Student Affairs Lead for this particular program. And I'm looking forward to telling you a bit more about it today. If you have pressing questions related to something not working on the Zoom or anything like that, please just unmute and tell me that all of a sudden you can't hear me or the slides went away or something like that. And if you have questions about the program related to what I'm saying, just hold those till the end and we'll do a Q&A at the end. So on that note, a little agenda for what we're going to go through today. First, I'll give you some background on the program and the various actors that are participating in it. Since it's an exchange program, there are a lot of moving parts. Then we'll do a more detailed program overview, so expectations about what you would be doing if you are selected as a Queen Elizabeth Scholar. We'll finish with a more detailed description of the application and selections process, and then we'll have that Q&A that I mentioned at the very end. Okay, so the Queen Elizabeth Scholars program is a Commonwealth program. This project situated at McGill specifically that you're here to learn about is just one project in an international network of projects under this umbrella. And just to give you a little bit of background on Queen Elizabeth Scholars as an entity and what their objectives are, Canadian universities from all across the country just submit different project proposals that include all sorts of different opportunities for inbound and outbound scholarships. So they're all international and they're all exchange programs, but they vary widely in terms of the content. So this particular one is focused on climate change, but other projects at different Canadian universities have different topics, just so you're aware. And the overall objective of all Queen Elizabeth Scholars programs, including our particular project that you'll be learning about today, is to help grow young Canadians into global citizens while promoting Canada as a destination for the world's top talent and in terms of education and research. So the program that you are applying to today, in case it wasn't clear from what you've already read, it is an exchange program. So McGill students go to the University of West Indies, but students from the University of the West Indies also come to McGill. So both of those are components of the program. Okay, so then to tell you a little bit about this specific program situated at McGill. This is a training and research exchange, and the focus is on linking cross-disciplinary research with practice around the theme of climate change, adaptation, and resilient communities. And as I mentioned, this is a partnership project between McGill and the University of the West Indies, which is a long-standing partnership, a really rich partnership between our institutions that goes back decades. So this particular exchange program is really just the most recent example of a collaboration between McGill and the University of the West Indies. And two of the main program objectives for this particular project are to acknowledge and support and really encourage and foment the role that youth are playing in climate action today, and to bring attention and action to climate change crises in Canada, in the Caribbean region, and really globally. So there's a lot of moving parts, as I mentioned at the beginning. This being an exchange program, there are just several bodies involved. I wanted to give you a quick overview of who those bodies are before I continue to talk about them. So we're in partnership with the University of the West Indies, which I am now going to truncate and start saying UWI because it's really long. UWI campuses that we work with specifically on this program are the St. Augustine campus in Trinidad and Tobago and the Cave Hill campus in Barbados. So those are the two locations that you could potentially be placed at for your internship projects. And you'll see on each of the program project descriptions, it will say which campus it's affiliated with. On the McGill side, the entity within McGill that runs this program is the School of Population and Global Health. So that's a fairly recently consolidated school within the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, if you haven't heard of it, just to situate it for you. And it consists of these three departments here: epidemiology, biostatistics, and occupational health, equity, ethics, and policy. That's where I work. And global and public health. And so as I mentioned, I work at the Department of Equity, Ethics, and Policy, but my colleagues who also work on this particular Queen Elizabeth Scholars program come from all three of these departments. So this program is housed under the School of Population and Global Health in general, which we refer to as the SPGH, because a running theme in this program is that everything has a really long name, and so there are a lot of acronyms. And the two other bodies that you wouldn't hear about as much, but that I want to just credit and mention are the Rideau Hall Foundation, who funds this program, and Universities Canada, who is the kind of administrative support that goes between us as the applicant. So McGill applied to, proposed this project, and the funder. So Universities Canada has some regulations that we do not have flexibility to change about who can participate in this program and what those eligibility criteria are, which I would like to mention right off the bat in case anyone's here that these don't apply to. And if that is the case, I can't help you. These are strict criteria that are set by Universities Canada in order to participate in the program. So you have to be a Canadian citizen in order to apply for an outgoing scholarship opportunity. You also have to be 35 years of age or less. And you can be an undergraduate student or a graduate student at McGill from any discipline, but it's worth noting that supervisors will have preferences about skill sets and backgrounds for their particular interns, but you can be from any department and apply to this program. And you have to be eligible for a summer award payment in order to receive your stipend for this. So that's a long URL. I don't expect you to write it down. I have a list of links that I'll pop in the chat once I'm done the screen sharing portion of this presentation, and that's one of them. So just going on there and checking to make sure that you are eligible to receive a summer award payment is a good thing to do before applying. And one other eligibility criteria I wanted to mention, or on this note, because I've received a few inquiries about it over email, students who are graduating the term before the internship begins, so next semester, are eligible for this program. You do not have to be a student over the summer next year. You can, if you've graduated right before the internship, you are still eligible for a summer award payment, and therefore we can still include you in the program. So just so you're aware, we can talk more about that later if people have further questions. Okay, a little bit more about what you would get out of this program if you're selected as a Queen Elizabeth Scholar. So some of the things that would be offered to you as opportunities are, well, first off and foremost, the opportunity to work on a climate-focused research project during the summer at either Cave Hill campus in Barbados or St. Augustine campus at Trinidad and Tobago. You'll receive mentorship and supervision from a UWI faculty member, so that will be the principal investigator on your project, which is also listed on the website in each of the project descriptions, who that individual is. You will have access to a wealth of community engagement activities, both at your internship location and also in Montreal. Some of those, some examples of what we did last year included site visits and workshops with some community partners that are affiliated with this program. In addition to those community engagement activities, there will be a variety of training and networking sessions offered by the SPGH, and you'll receive recognition of your participation on your co-curricular record, which I can also send the link to if you're not familiar with that record. And also, if applicable, on a case-by-case basis, we can investigate whether you can receive academic credit towards your degree. So that depends on the requirements of your particular program and how to go about receiving credit for an internship, but we did it for all our scholars last year, so it's something to look into if you're interested in that, unless you graduate the semester before, in which case naturally you won't receive academic credit, but you'll still get co-curricular credit. So a little bit more detail about what you will do and what your responsibilities will be if you're selected for the program. Before you begin the internship, you have a mandatory pre-departure training facilitated by us at the SPGH. We'll book your travel. Again, that's done. Our team will take care of that for you, just in consultation with you. We'll purchase your health insurance if necessary. I'll speak a little bit more about that on the next slide. And you'll have 1 or 2 virtual meetings with the supervisor for your project to really shape what that project is going to look like, what your main deliverables will be, and start filling out a work plan that we have for this project. Then once you arrive, your primary responsibility will be your research tasks, which again will have been outlined a little bit before your arrival so that you know what you're getting started on as soon as you're there. You will also have access to those community engagement activities, like I mentioned at the beginning, and we will have regular check-in meetings as an entire cohort, or rather both cohorts. So as I mentioned at the beginning, this is an exchange program. McGill students will be going to UWI campuses, and the same number of UWI students will be coming to pursue research projects here in Montreal over the summer. And we will have check-in meetings that are kind of a lab meeting style, where everyone talks through where they're at in their particular projects, maybe if they're encountering any challenges or stumbling blocks, anything that they want to bring up related to the work they're doing. Those will be most likely every other week. That's how we did them this past summer. That worked out quite well. You'll also have a speaker series with various faculty members and partners on different topics related to the themes of their work related to climate adaptation and community resiliency. And you will be posting on social media. So this is another requirement from Universities Canada. They have a hashtag QE Scholars, that they highly encourage all participants to use. So you can, if you're not comfortable posting on your personal social media accounts, you can create a new account for this purpose, but you are supposed to post on social media at least a few times over the course of your internship about your experience. And after your internship, so once you're back in Montreal, there will be an intensive training week in Montreal with both cohorts in person. So we do stagger the travel so that McGill students leave earlier and return earlier from their internships as compared to the UWI students. So that means that when the McGill students return to Montreal, the UWI cohort is still here, right? They haven't finished their internship yet. And we take a week to bring everyone together for a variety of activities and trainings in person. And so you'll have met these people virtually over the course of the 3 months through the check-in meetings, but this will be an opportunity for you all to really get to know each other better in person. Then in the fall of 2023, there will be a virtual scientific committee meeting. So this program, the educational activities around this program are directed and kind of guided by a scientific committee that consists of your faculty supervisors, as well as our principal and co-investigators on the program, our community partners, just a variety of people who are invested in these topics as researchers and practitioners. And you will have the opportunity to present about the work that you completed and your experience in the program. That just happened a few weeks ago in mid-November for the 2022 cohort. And you will have the opportunity, if it interests you, to participate in the next cohort as an alumnus of the program. So there are 2 positions for student advisors that are paid positions each year that help to guide some of the activities and give input and suggestions as the different community engagement activities, the speaker series, all these elements that build on top of the research project and make this a more holistic experience. It's really invaluable to us to bring your perspectives as the ones who are going through this experience into the process of planning those elements. So you will have the opportunity, if you're interested in participating in that capacity. And just one other note on that topic, even when you are an intern next year, the community engagement activities, speaker series, and trainings, we have ideas about what we as the administrators of this program think would be great and useful topics for all of you in terms of the content of those activities. But it is an expectation in this program, because the focus is so much on the role that youth do already play in climate action, that we want to hear from you. We want your ideas and your input in terms of what will be most valuable to you. If you have different ideas about a great site visit that could be really valuable in Montreal, or a really interesting speaker you'd like to hear from, or a particular topic you think would be most useful in terms of a training capacity, It's a very open dialogue, primarily with me, as I'm working with the rest of my team to put together those extra educational components of the program. And we do expect that you give us some opinions and some input into that so that we can make it as valuable for you as possible. Okay, logistics. This is a 90-day program. The internship itself, the travel component, is 90 days, and you will likely be traveling for maybe 93 or 95, depending on how the dates fall. You need to actually be on site working on your internship for 90 days, excluding travel dates. That's a requirement from Universities Canada. So you'll probably be gone for a few days extra on top of 90. You'll receive a stipend of $6,800 to cover travel and living expenses. When you receive the stipend, your airfare will already be deducted from that. So you will just have the amount left to you. The travel will be booked for you, as I mentioned. I think I mentioned that at the beginning. Me or someone on my team will be booking it through McGill, but in consultation with you to make sure that the dates and the times and everything works for you. Accommodations, you don't need to find yourself. You will be staying at University of West Indies residence halls. So that's taken care of in terms of, you don't need to worry about finding housing for an internship, for the internship. Travel health insurance is required for participation. Most of you will have this already through your health insurance with SMU or PGSS, unless you have opted out of it. So it's something to look into on a case-by-case basis as it gets closer anyway. If you're selected for the program, we'll look into that in particular. But most of the students who participated last year were already covered, except it is possible for you to opt out. So we'll have to assess that. But if you do not have any health insurance coverage that covers you while you are traveling abroad, then you'll have to purchase a plan and you will be reimbursed for it, but that will be at the end of the internship, the reimbursement. And some good news is that there are no visas required for Canadian citizens to travel to either Barbados or Trinidad and Tobago. So that is not something that you need to be concerned about. A little bit more on funding. The funding will be distributed in one lump sum prior to your departure. So that'll be in the spring. And as I mentioned, airfare will be deducted from the amount that you receive. So the order of operations there is that we will book your travel and then I will send you your stipend. Funding is dispersed by direct deposit using your information on Minerva. So that's something that we'll just double check on as well as it gets closer to make sure that your details are up to date in Minerva so that you don't experience any delays receiving your funding. Okay, we're almost done. The application process. It's pretty straightforward. So there is, again, I'll be putting these links in the chat so you don't have to actually write them down, but the website, mcgill.ca/Queen Elizabeth Scholars, has the information about how to apply and what the projects are that are available for this year. Specifically, there's a McGill Students tab that has all the information that you need on that tab. So you can read the descriptions of all of the projects that are available and identify your top choices. You can apply for 2 projects. If there's only one you're interested in, you can also just apply for one. And then you'll need to collect your necessary documents. So your supplementary documents for the application will be a personal statement. There's a template for you that's provided through the form, the application form. Your CV and your transcripts. These can be unofficial transcripts from Minerva. You don't need to go to Service Point and get official transcripts for this. And we ask for 2 letters of reference. So those can be professional or academic, and they'll be emailed to an email address that I will also put in the chat at the end. And then all you need to do at that point is fill out the application form, which is some demographic information about you, and upload those supplementary documents, except for the letters of reference, which you'll have asked to be emailed to me. And the application deadline for summer of 2023 is next Wednesday, December 14th. Okay, last piece here, and then we'll do the Q&A. So the selections process is also very straightforward. So we'll do an initial review as soon as all the applications are in to either eliminate or follow up for more information on any applications that are incomplete or ineligible. Then once we know that the applications are good to go, we will send them off to the supervisors of the projects you've applied for. They will decide who their top applicants are that they're most interested in, and we'll set up interviews, which will take place in January, and then selections will be made in February. And that is the presentation. So I am going to just drop these links in the chat that I've been mentioning over and over again. And then I will check what you guys have been saying. There you go. Okay. So I'll start from the first question. What is considered a senior undergraduate student? So usually we think of a senior undergrad student as being in their final year or their penultimate year. So some people come for 3, some people come for 4 years. But usually if you're here for 4 years, that would be 3rd or 4th year. If you're here for 3 years, 2nd or 3rd, you can apply at any point. We really just say that because supervisors tend to be more likely to select students with a little bit more research experience. So it's just, you can apply as a first year if you want to, but we just encourage students with more research experience because you're more likely to be selected. Okay, is having 2 terms left before graduation eligible? So Harry, are you saying like you're a student now and you have 2 terms before you're graduating?
I'm a student now and I'm finishing my 3rd year right now, and I'll only have 1 more year, so 2 more terms.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Okay.
You're eligible. You should just double check in the links that I sent, the McGill Summer Award payment eligibility. Yeah. I just recommend everyone check that to make sure, but yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving to the next question. Approximately how many spots are available for scholars at McGill? Oh, great question. Yeah, I should have included that in the presentation. Thanks, Emma. It'll be between 7 and 9, generally. That's what we're planning for. It will ultimately depend on the supervisor's assessment of their applicants, but that's what we are aiming for. Okay. If my last semester is winter 2023, can I still apply? Yes. So if you graduate the summer before the internship, which in this case, if you graduate winter 2023, the internship is summer 2023, that's the semester right before, then you are eligible. Again, you can read the detail about that on the McGill Summer Award Payment Eligibility link. So if you graduate in the winter, you're still eligible to receive a stipend from McGill through the summer immediately after graduating. And then after that, you're no longer eligible, but yes. Are departure and return dates set? My program ends in July, so I'm assuming it may be late for departure. Yes, so that is late for departure. Linda, maybe follow up with me directly at the email address that I put up here, the spgh.qes program at mcgill.ca, and we can talk more about that. Because generally, for everyone's information, the McGill student travel is generally from May to August. So like around mid-May to mid-August. Yes, let me see. Do you know what part of the application receives the most consideration? For example, transcript versus statement. Thank you. So, good question. The statement is the biggest piece here because this program isn't strictly academic. We're looking for students who are really interested and invested in the content and in developing skills and a more holistic picture. So your dedication to the topic and your experience with maybe some of the research methods that are required for the particular project you're applying for are going to be the most valuable in this context. We also do look at transcripts, we also do look at letters of reference and everything, but I would say that the statement is the weightiest piece. Tanvi, are Canadian permanent residents also eligible, or is it only for citizens? This is something I was just looking up because I had the same question, and I'm My colleague, who's the expert on the contract details for this program, said it is only Canadian citizens, but I'm going to double check that because can you follow up? Tanvi, please follow up with me. Send me an email and I'll, if anyone else has that question as well, send an email to that email address too. I think it's worth double checking just to make sure. I do think it's only citizens, but I want to check on that. Okay, next question. If the project is located in Barbados, is it compatible with doing the BITS program? Irene, can you tell me what the BITS program is? Or send me an email about it if you are still.
It's the Barbados Interdisciplinary Tropical Studies program.
Oh.
Like in the description of the coral reef project, it says that it would be like at the same time as that. I'm wondering if you have to do both. If you're doing one, can you do the other as well?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's the one that's located at like McGill has the research site specifically in Barbados. That's what you're referring to, right? I think.
Yeah, and the Billairs Institute.
Yeah. Okay. Can you send me an email because I need to talk to the supervisor for that project a little bit to confirm that. It's certainly not required. If you do the QES project, you do not need to do the Belair Institute, anything at the Belair Institute, but it's
more like the other way around, because
right.
I was planning on doing the BITS, but like both are mentioned in the project description.
Yes, because there's a McGill faculty member associated with Belair Institute. Yeah, send me an email about that. This is a case where we might be able to look into how to get this program to feed into credit for that one, but I would need to read about it. Okay.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Do you know which majors the supervisors are looking for in particular? So that will definitely vary based on the project. I think I can say generally that the supervisors are less concerned with the specific major and more with your research experience being compatible with what they're looking for. So if you have a major in one field, but you did a previous internship last year that aligns a lot with some of the aspects that you would need to be participating in for the project you're applying to, that tends to be the most valuable. But in terms of which majors the supervisors are looking for in particular, some of them might say, I can't recall exactly now, in the sort of, there's like a skills and experience section of the project descriptions, and some of them might have said they're looking specifically for geography students with certain coding background or something like that. If it doesn't say, then I wouldn't be too concerned about them looking for something in particular. And again, emphasizing your experience in that personal statement will be really valuable. Does that answer that question, Anna? I hope so. I don't see where you are, but if I'm taking a class until May 19th, is that a problem? Shouldn't be a problem. We can probably work that out. I wouldn't worry about that. Great, Tanvi, yes, email me. Could this be a first internship? As in, would it be a problem if you don't have previous internship experience? Is that what you mean? Yeah, it could. I mean, ultimately the decision about who gets selected for this program is up to the supervisors, right? So the administrative team, so that's me and my colleagues, will have a say because we are, again, looking for these other components for the cohort. We want people who are interested in leadership training opportunities and community engagement opportunities that aren't directly related to the research, but ultimately we're not going to tell a supervisor they have to take one student over the other for those reasons, because the majority of the research of the internship rather is the research. So it's not like you would be eliminated if you haven't had an internship before. It's just a matter of demonstrating that you have some experience in whatever the research skills are that the supervisor is looking for and are, interested in learning more and all of that. Great. I'm happy to have clarified a little bit. Anna, is the program only open to Canadians? Yeah, so international students, unfortunately, are not eligible for this program per the Universities Canada guidelines. There are funders, so we have to do what they say, which is a bummer. but yeah, sorry about that. Is there something specific you're looking for in the reference letters? I'm not, no, well, short answer, no. Longer answer, I think what I would say in terms of when I'm reviewing applications, what I find the most compelling and useful is when reference letters, first of all, are tailored a bit to the actual experience, as opposed to a letter that is clearly generic that you maybe have sent many different places. Sometimes supervisors, they don't find that as compelling. But I think it will vary from project to project what's most valuable, but from the perspective of me as a program administrator, I definitely we value leadership and initiative and demonstration of kind of resourcefulness and an interest to dig into new things and to learn. It's those kinds of traits, because they really align with the broader Queen Elizabeth Scholars goals, that like umbrella program that I talked about at the beginning, that this particular little McGill project is just one of a whole network across Canada and the world of these projects. They're really focused on encouraging and developing youth leadership and initiative and change makers in Canada. And so those are the kinds of qualities that we're looking for on the admin side in terms of what we think will be the most valuable in our training sessions and all of that. Would a volunteer coordinator count as a professional reference? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it can be professional, academic. I guess I could add a third category. It doesn't need to be like a paid supervisor. I'm not sure what I would term that, but yes. Cool. Any other questions? I can just sit here making everyone feel kind of awkward for another few minutes to see if you come up with additional questions. You can also email me if something comes up afterwards. And yeah, if you're encountering any issues with the application or whatever might come up, yeah, do just email me. And I know you've probably received maybe just different information about where to contact me. I know when you registered for this, it probably directed you to my kate.shaw email address. And then I have a different one for my usual job. And then there's a third email for this, and it's madness. But this one that I'm going to post again, ta-da, is the best place for questions related to this program, because this is a popular program. A lot of inquiries come in. It's great to just direct them to that email address. I am the one who is responding there. Last question. Where will the recording be made available? Yes, so it's going to be added to the website, might be in another day or two. And would it be helpful to, I think what I'll also do is just email it out to everyone who registered, because even if they didn't all attend, there was an intention to attend. So I think those will be the two places. But if someone thinks it would be helpful to have it another way, let me know. But yeah, it will be somewhere on the McGill.ca/Queen Elizabeth Scholars website. And you'll also all get it in your email in a couple days. Should the letters of reference be sent directly to us? I've tried doing that in the past. Most referees prefer to send it directly to me and, not have it go through you. So if on the application form, which is linked right here, that's the application form. There is, at the section where you upload your PDF with all your documents, there is a note about the letters. So yeah, to email them to my email address, the SPGHQES program email, and that it should say your name and letter of reference in the subject line, just to make it easy for me to identify which letters go with which applications. How many people typically apply each year? Good question, Tyra. I forgot to mention, this is only the second year of this program. So this program was launched last year, and honestly, it's not a terribly representative sample because we had a lot of issues with COVID still and travel restrictions last year. So we got about 20 applications last year. And I expect a good deal more, I think, for this year, just based on how many we've already received. Just because I know that most of them come in the day of the deadline, which, you know, no disrespect. I totally get that. But yeah, so I can't really say, there's not a huge history of this program yet. But we had about 20-ish from each of the schools last year. Hopefully it'll be more this year because we'll have, I think there's a more interest in traveling, and also there were still travel restrictions last year. We couldn't recruit until January or February because of not being allowed to send students places. So sorry for that kind of unhelpful answer. Okay, yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for coming, everybody. I guess I'll just hang out as you all trickle out, just in case somebody has a last question. But for the 87th time, you can email me if you have a question as well. And good luck with finals and papers and things. I know that this is I think the first day of finals, which maybe was poor planning on my part, but thank you for showing up anyway. I know you're all really busy. Yeah, you're welcome. Looking forward to reading your applications.